All right, so today I'm going to be showing you how to install a rear seat on a Club Car Precedent. They're all the same as far as 2004 and up. As long as it's the Precedent, the rear seat will fit just fine. They all go on the same way. You're going to get a box, a pretty large box that weighs about 100 pounds, and everything's going to be inside of here. Now, I've already taken all the contents out and I've already laid it out to kind of show you what's in the box, just to make it easier. Okay, so here's all the contents. You got your cushions, you got your step plate, flip out bed, armrest, your gutters, and then you have some additional hardware right over there. I'm going to break all this stuff up as I go through the video to kind of show you where it all goes. Now, the best thing to do, since all your hardware is in one bag, is to go and open that bag up and go ahead and check all the contents in it, and then kind of separate and see what's the links to the bolts and whatnot, so you don't have to redo anything. I'm gonna go ahead and separate it. Okay, so I've already separated everything. The reason I do this is just makes it easier instead of going through the bag. It takes literally a couple minutes just to get everything out of the bag, because you don't want to use one of these bolts where one of these are supposed to go, and you definitely don't want to use longer ones when you need a shorter one. So this is why I separate them. So I'll go over where everything goes as I go through the video. These are going to go towards your rear seat, your rear flip seat, where your armrest goes. These are going to be more for underneath your rear seat, where your support rails go. The support rails that go through your bag well, you're going to use these guys. And then the reason I separate is because you see here you have very unique washers. This is actually for your bottom cushion. There can be a Phillips head, and they're going to go, you put your washer on just like that, and I'll show you later in the video, but this is to ensure that it doesn't back out. And then this is for your rear seat, your back cushion, which lock washer goes first, then your washer. Which I'll show you in the video as well as I put them on, but you want the lock washer on top. Okay, so let's get to putting the rear seat on, but first we got to remove the existing sweater basket. You're not going to reuse any of this, so this is going, your gutters right here are going, so this whole piece is coming off. So let's get started on taking it out. First, we're going to remove the back cushion, which is held on by 2 screws right there. Now, I do use this bag, this sweater basket, to kind of hold on my hardware in. This, just lift it up, slides right off, and I usually just lay it right there on the front seat. Then your next piece is going to be inside the bag well. You got 2 screws, they're very long. They come out just like that. These are to hold your gutters in. So if you didn't take those out, that runs through there's a bracket underneath of the sweater basket that holds this all together. If those didn't come out, then this whole basket would not be able to come out. Now let's remove the hardware. You got 4, 1, 2. You got 2 in the front right there. This guy put seat belts on, so I'm going to have to remove the seat belts. This normally is not here. Okay, since this guy had seat belts put in, I had to actually get in there and loosen these up. I just used a wrench just to get in there. Just used a little 10 millimeter and just ratchet them out. So they're out. Now the next step is getting the gutters. You have 2 bolts, one on this side, one on the other side. Zap these out so we can release the roof. Okay, took out the 2 bolts. As you can see, they're out. You just had a nut on the other side. Now the roof, as you can see, is loose. So now we need to take out, if you have this is where your cooler would have went. If you have this has to come off because it has hardware going through it, locking it into place. The other side doesn't have it, so just gotta zap that guy off. All right. It comes loose. It actually just sits into place. Actually just sits in a little groove down there. So it comes off very easy. I usually just toss it into there. So give me a second to get the a new tool. So I got the front loosened up. Now let's get the back. Now you'll need to save these because you're going to reuse them for the rear seat. And then it is ready to come out. I got to pause it so I can lift it out. Okay, lifted it up. So now it's just one piece. All right, all the hardware is still in there. Now these are the pieces I was talking about that go underneath. This is where that long bolt went through. All right, let's go ahead and zap these guys out. Just two bolts holding it in. Up they go. Now we're ready to go ahead and install the two rails that go through these two holes, one on each side. Let me grab those. Okay, in our hardware, I'm sorry, in the box that I've already emptied out, you'll have your two long kind of L-shaped rails. That's what they look like. Okay, and the way they go in is this way, not that way. We're gonna sit in like this. Let me get the hardware for it. Since I need both hands to put this in, I'm gonna go and show you how this is set up. So you have your bolt up top with the washer on it. Then you have this unique bottom piece that goes in that direction. And then you zap it through that hole, put a nut and washer on the end, and then tighten it down. Okay, now that I got both these in there, I'm gonna go ahead and get the rear seat and set it on top before I actually tighten it. Okay, for the bottom of the rear seat, attaching to that support bar, we're gonna get four of these washers and 2 bolts. All right, those 2 bolts go right up here. And you wanna make sure this bracket's on the back side of this. You don't want it in the front because there's a rail running on the back side up here that's metal that'll hold it in case, it moves. On this side, there's nothing but the plastic on this side. So this rail on the back side, your 2 short bolts going through, and then we're gonna get the saved hardware. Put the sweater back. This guy. Need 2 of them. They're gonna go right through these holes. All right, got it lined up. You can look through here and see where the holes are, but you want to line up. There's 2 holes down there. You want the closer to the front ones because your gutters still need to run through here. If you went to the back ones, this would be way back. So make sure you put these through the front holes. And we just zap it down. So now the seat is on the golf cart. And then we're gonna go ahead and run our armrest along with that U-bar, which is gonna go right through all these holes. I'll show you. Okay, we got our gutters here. They're gonna slide in right here, and then you're gonna move it to that little spot on the roof, like so. You want it angling towards the back. They're not supposed to angle towards the front. So it can rest right there while you get your hardware in. Okay, we're gonna reuse our hardware that mounted the roof to the gutters. We got the gutters sitting in place, so they're gonna go through the top, right through that hole. Okay, got the hardware in. It's right up here. So gonna leave it loose for now while I put in my U-bar right there. U-bar sits in just like that. Now I'm gonna get the hardware to secure it, which on this one, it's gonna be the medium sized one for the bottom. So you're gonna grab these 2, 4 washers, 2 nuts. Okay, gonna put these through this hole in the bottom facing this way. Once it's in, it'll look like that. Okay, the top bolts for that U-bar is gonna be the longer ones. So again, 2 bolts, 4 washers, 2 nuts. Okay, so this hardware is gonna secure the U-bar right here to the gutter, which after that we're gonna put our armrest on. So I like to put these in the opposite way of those because on the front side, there's a little more area for that bolt to sit in. If we go the other way, there's a chance that I could hit the cushion when we put the cushion right here. So I go ahead and put them in bolt facing that way. So for the armrest, we're gonna be using two. This is for each armrest. So we're gonna be using two of the long bolts. We're gonna be using one of the medium-sized bolts. And then we have to use these little spacers, which came two in this box. Then obviously the washers and the nuts. Let me get one on the golf cart and show you where everything goes. So your armrest is gonna sit like this on the golf cart. Your two long bolts go through this section, and then your shorter bolt goes through here. I've already put the one on the other side, so let me show you that guy. So you get your two long bolts. You just put bolt going this way through, washer on each side, and then your nut. This one's a little bit different. So you got the bolt going through, washer, spacer, and then washer, nut on that side. On the side right here, you have the bolt going through that way. So bolt, washer, washer, nut. I don't tighten these down because I still have to put on the step plate down there. So let me get both armrests put on. Okay, now that we have both armrests put on, we're gonna go ahead and put two brackets that go through these two holes down here that are meant to hold on your step plate. Now they come packaged together, so you're gonna have to unwrap them. Okay, so here are your two brackets that are gonna go on the bottom. As you see, one side has two spots, one has one, so it goes outward. I like to put it to where this rail is facing that way. You can do it either way, it does not matter. I just like to have it covered up a little bit more. So let me put a hardware through that. You're gonna be using the short bolt. Okay, so this one's gonna go on this side. We're gonna use our short bolt. Put a washer through it. Put it through the bracket. And it goes through here. And then you just put a washer nut on the other side and it'll look like that. Now that I've got both of the brackets on, now we're ready to slide on the step plate. So as you can see, you have metal rails running on both sides. So this rail is going to sit right into that groove. We're going to use two of the long bolts, 4 washers, and 2 nuts to get that step plate. We're going to use a long bolt. We're going to slide it in from this side going through the bottom of this step plate. It'll look like that when it goes through. And then on the bottom, you put your nut washer down there. It's time for us to put our brackets on the side to support the step plate to the armrest. They're gonna come packaged. Okay, so I got out of the package. People make this mistake all the time. So they do not go this way. So they don't go towards the inside of the golf cart. It doesn't help, it doesn't support the step plate in any way. They go the other way. They need to be facing towards the back of the golf cart. So when someone steps on it, this helps to support this step plate. So make sure you have it facing the back side. Maybe that's a better angle. That way, not that way. Okay, now they're both on, facing towards the rear of the golf cart. Got the long bolt washer, and then on the bottom, you got the washer nut. Both sides. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and tighten all the hardware down, including the roof support, and then we can get started on setting up our cushion. Now that I got everything tightened up, now it's time to put on the rear bottom seat cushion. Now you see this groove? It's supposed to go towards the inside of the golf cart. So it's supposed to sit just like that. So there is a curve to the cushion. So it's supposed to curve downward towards the front of the golf cart. Then when you flip it out, when you flip out the rear seat, see those holes? They need to match up with these threaded holes right here. I'll flip it out and I'll show you where the hardware goes, which you're going to use these screws, the Phillips head, with those unique washers facing upward. Okay, so I've already hand threaded them into the rear seat. I do use my knee here to support it while I'm zapping these in. So you just go through, tighten them up until they're flush. I'm gonna do it to all 6 of them, and then that's it on the rear seat cushion, the bottom cushion. Then I just flip it back over. Cushion is on. So now we're gonna grab these other 2 brackets. These are for the front and the back cushion. Okay, we're gonna be using the last 4, these little bitty bolts. Don't get confused with the little ones I had over here earlier. These have a huge bolt. These are the little bitty ones. So we're gonna be using all 4 of these on that rear cushion. All right, so here's our brackets. These do go on a specific way. These are not the same. It's this little bitty hook right here that are different. So what you want is, with your cushion sitting like this hook needs to be facing outside. If this is on this side facing inside, it will not sit right with your front cushion. So make sure, sit it that way. Now that our brackets are secured to the back cushion, we're going to turn this around. I'm just going to set on that rail. Just like that. So you see your two holes right there? That's where the last two hardware are going. These guys. So 2 bolts, 2 nuts, 4 washers. Your last 2 bolts right here, they're technically supposed to go where I put your factory bolts back in. I like to reuse the factory bolt, as you see over there. If you want to use these, go right ahead. You know, this one gets the thread into the underbody just fine, but these are supposed to go there. You can go either way. So if you want to use these, go ahead. They go right through there. And again, use that unique washer right there. And then just zap it down, which I'll just do it real quick. And then it sits flush, which is the way it's supposed to be. But if you ever go back to wanting your back setup, it's convenient to have these because obviously they won't be anywhere on your seat kit. So you need these if you ever want to go back to your sweater basket. All right, got the last 2 bolts in there. Now we're going to be putting the front cushion sitting on those 2 hooks. You'll know if you have them backwards because they won't line up. I like to leave this loose, this bracket loose. That way it's easier for me to get my last bolt going right into there. All right, she is all done. The rear seat is installed. You have your little hole right there for your grip to open up the rear seat. You definitely want to try to move stuff around to make sure it is tightened up. Obviously, these were the last 2 bolts we tightened on the golf cart, so I just tightened those. So that's on. I got the 2 bolts, one right there. Hard to see, but one right there for the front cushion. It's on, tight. Everything is on. Thanks for watching, guys.